The Conor McGregor Nate Diaz fight, the sequel, lived up to the hype. It was
bigger than the hype.
Yeah, much better than the hype. What a great fight. Conor,
maybe
of
one
course,
of the best, maybe the best fight in the history of the UFC.
Think?
A lot of people are saying
could
this.
Be.
It went all 5 rounds.
Yep.
Conor won, but there are people. It was one judge had it tied, and then 2 judges gave it to Conor by a point. But some people thought that Nate won. It was very close. It went back and forth. It was amazing, all 5 rounds.
So you know how this works in sports when you have a rivalry like this. You want to make sure it happens again. You always try to get them back together.
Especially because Nate won the first one, Conor won the second, so this is the tiebreaker.
Right, you got to have a tiebreaker. No, you don't, apparently, because TMZ Sports spoke with Dana White, who says that's not going to happen, at least not anytime in the near future.
It's weird. I talked to Dana, and I didn't, honestly, I mean, he's a great guy, and I did not believe him at first because it just didn't make sense because it's so lucrative and it will just draw people in and they'll make a ton of money off a pay-per-view. But he really was determined to say, look, this is about titles. This whole organization is about titles. And Conor has kind of ignored the fact that he's got a title and he needs to fight to keep his title.
Who cares though, Harvey? Because here's the bottom line. Titles don't buy you mansions and houses and all that stuff. Money does. Money, money, money. And they're going to make more money for the 3rd fight than any other belt's going to get him in the world. And Dana knows that and everyone knows that. That's kind of why I'm not really buying this.
Except,
I buy that it's not going to. Maybe it's not going to happen immediately. And by the way, Evan, I know what you're saying about money, 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 but I always feel at the end of a fight, if you don't see someone with a belt,
it's a disappointment.
It does kind of go like, oh wait, I want the shot of someone getting the belt.
There's nobody that saw that fight that's saying, oh, the only thing that would have made that better is if it was a belt.
No, I agree with the difference. I mean, Luke Rockhold was saying, all I want is the belt.
No. I don't think it makes a difference. I feel like, who cares? More people are going to watch it. If you had a belt, it doesn't really make a difference. More people are going to. There's no bigger fight in combat sports than a 3rd fight between Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor.
Evan, what about the theory of making them wait? Why give it to them immediately?
Because
why not make people wait?
Because it's the fight game and anything can happen.
Yeah,
if one of them gets hit by a bus or gets sick or something like that, you want to get it done now while they both can. They're both ready, willing, and able. And let's get it done.
But
and there's momentum.
But here's the thing, that they do need to worry about the meat and potatoes of the organization, and it's been kind of ignored. And right now you've got an interim champion, right, who is sitting there, Josie Aldo, and he's sitting there saying, what am I doing here? Conor McGregor should be fighting.
What Josie Aldo should be doing is, number 1, not getting knocked out in 14 seconds, and number 2, go out and make some noise for yourself. Go out there and create some hype like Conor McGregor did. Conor McGregor rose to superstardom in a couple of years, a short time, and that's what other stars need to be doing also.
So don't you think the WME?
To fight him.
Remember, there are new bosses.
He's not gonna fight him.
You don't think WME is saying, "Hey, when are we going to get a title fight?"
And they're going to get a title fight because my guess is what happened is Conor McGregor was 145. He fought at 168, which is a huge weight gain for him. So what I'm kind of being told by people is he's not going to go back down to 145. So he'll probably go to 155, surrender his belt to Josie, and then fight Eddie Alvarez for the lightweight title. And then he's within shooting distance of Nate Diaz. Sure. So then they could have a real title fight.
But Charles made a great point, right? WME is now involved. They bought the company. Do you think WME cares about who has the title, or do you think WME cares about selling the biggest super fight in the history of the UFC?
I think they care about having more than 2 stars that people are talking about.
Absolutely.
I think they want a stable full of people who are a draw.
Totally.
And if you're always going back to the same well, you're never going to develop those other people. I agree that maybe Aldo needs to. You're right. Aldo needs to take learn from what McGregor did and go out there and start talking some smack.
If somehow Conor McGregor gets knocked out before the next Nate Diaz fight, it 100% takes away from the momentum going into the trilogy fight.
It may, but he's right. There are 600 fighters in the UFC. They can't bank on 2 because it's not a good organization
Let's talk about Ronda Rousey for a second, right? Holly Holm beat up Ronda Rousey, and everybody was saying she should wait, and then when Ronda comes back, Holly and Ronda will fight. It'll be a massive fight and make millions and millions of dollars. And guess what happened?
Holly fights, and she loses, and now
got knocked out. Right. And then Misha went out and defended and got knocked out. And now it's kind of a mess in the women's division.
Do you know what happened when John Belushi left Saturday Night Live?
He died.
They found another John Belushi.
Eddie Murphy came along, and then Will Ferrell came along, and on and on and on. And that's what they got to do to keep the organization going.
That's
they
the right
can't
metaphor.
rely on two people.
I don't know if that's
Strike
the metaphor I
while
would
the iron is hot. Let's get them back out there. Let's have them trading blows again tomorrow. Did you see them? They're both clubbing afterwards. Nate Diaz was fine. He was hanging out vaping on his vape pen.
That's TMZ
Conor
Sports
McGregor
tonight on FS1.
Yeah, you want to find out
Conor
about the
McGregor.
parties? Check it out, FS1.
That's right.
I'm Fonzo Spikes from Atlanta, Georgia, and I think that there needs to be the best 2 out of 3. We need a clear and decisive winner. And I'm with Nate Diaz. Dana White, you need to rethink this. Please rethink this. We need a clear and decisive winner.
Hey, let me ask you a question, though. If Conor goes out and fights Jose Aldo, are you this excited about that fight?
No, I don't want to see that fight, man. Get Nate Diaz and Conor back in the ring, and let's do this.
Hey,
Dana White.
Fonzo, what's your position over at UFC?
My position? Look, I'm just an thrill. I love fighting. Come on,
No
man.
position.
I want to see.
Oh, you playing the president card?